David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. Today I have for you a recent release from Esterbrook, which is a new line of pens inspired by the style of the late 60s and 70s, with the goal of creating a vintage feel in a modern fountain pen that uses like earthly tones and harkens back to a time of long family road trips. I can recall taking many different road trips with my family growing up, making stops at different campgrounds and other random roadside attractions. I think we've kind of gotten away from those types of family trips. We tend to just hop on a plane and get to where we need to be as quickly as possible, as opposed to taking a meandering journey along the way. Being a child of the 60s and 70s, those were my formative years. While my family didn't own a station wagon, I certainly had friends who did, and I have distinct memories of sitting in that backward-facing third seat. That was the best seat in the car, until you rolled down the back window and were choked out by all the exhaust fumes. And sitting on a lava-hot vinyl seat when you're wearing shorts, that was painful. And the fashion back then was not long shorts like it is today. We all had these really short shorts, way too short. In hindsight, it wasn't the best look. In regard to this pen, the collection is called Back to the Land and is comprised of 2 different filling systems and 3 different colors. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of this groovy offering, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about it. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good folks at Esterbrook for providing this pen for review. In regard to those 3 different colors, there is the quirky leaf, and then there is the funky lake, and finally there is incredible rock. It arrives in this rather nostalgic box. There's just a lot going on here, so let's do this. Let's do a bit of an unboxing over here at camera 2. Okay, here on the box we have some reflective gold lettering. You can see on the side we have, again, some stripes. On the back there is some marketing information about this line. On the end here, it tells you to pull here. So when we pull here on the side of the box, we have some nostalgic graphics. There is a VW van. There is a Viewmaster, the closest thing we got to virtual reality in the 70s. There's a camping lantern, and then it took me a while to figure this one out. At first I thought it might be George Jetson, but figured there'd be a copyright issue with that. It's actually a drawing of a doctor with his stethoscope around his neck. Not quite sure why a doctor is included, but there it is. And then on the other side, we have some other images. We have kind of the car going around the world. We have a radio. We have some headsets, and then the sun. And then inside we have the pen. Let's go ahead and set that aside for a second. And inside here we also have a small standard international cartridge. I do like the inside of this box, which has some nice branding on it. And then also inside here is the cutest little envelope. And inside the envelope is an Esterbrook card, which has a QR code that you can use to register your pens. QR actually stands for quick response, if you are curious. These codes can hold 100 times more information than a standard barcode. You see barcodes can only be read in one direction, but these can be read sideways and slant ways and long ways and back ways and square ways and front ways and any other ways that you can think of, just like the Wonkavator. And then we have, let me set this stuff aside. We have the pen. It's here on this ruler with both imperial and metric measurements. There was a big push in the early 70s to get the US to convert to the metric system, and yeah, that didn't take. Everyone kind of just rejected that. And you might wonder what is holding this pen. It is a magnetic pen holder loop. A pen comes with a different matching color. Now let me go ahead and take that out. You can see here, this is what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. You can see here that it is held together with some magnets. You can use this in a couple of different ways. This is just an A5 notebook from Bocomondo. You could put it on individual pages if you wanted, or you could, on a thinner notebook, put it right on the edge and hold the pen like that. I have this is, I know it isn't in the entire frame, but this is a leather notebook with a rather thick leather cover. And you could put it on the cover here as well. Or if you wanted to put it on individual pages, you could do that. While the magnets are pretty powerful, I wouldn't say it's the most secure method of securing your pen. While it does do a good job of keeping it on there, I'd be careful not to put this under too much stress. It doesn't take too much to dislodge it. And here we have the pen. This model is the Quirky Leaf. It's made from a light olive green resin with orange accents and a gold trim. The end of the cap here is rounded, and that transitions into a rather nondescript clip, but I feel it fits in well with the overall aesthetics of this SD model. I'll show you during the size comparisons how this compares in size to the oversized SD model, but this is the standard size. Here at the end of the cap, it is engraved with the Esterbrook name and filled with gold lacquer. There is a thin gold band and then a splash of orange at the end. There's a medium-sized step down to the barrel, which tapers down slowly until the rounded end. The cap twists off with a rotation and a half. There is a spring-loaded inner cap, so when capping this pen, you need to apply a bit of gentle pressure in order to get the threads to engage. But the spring tension is appropriate. The cap doesn't feel like it wants to jump off when you uncap it. I've seen pens where that's the case. I do like that on this cap that the orange portion here for the threads isn't just a band. It's an insert that goes all the way down past the threads. I thought that was a nice touch. And then underneath we have a number 6 stainless steel nib. This nib is available in a wide variety of choices. There's extra fine, fine, medium, broad, a 1.1 stub, as well as an architect, italic, and a techo. And then here is the plastic feed. The section on this SD model isn't overly long. It begins with a slight flare and then angles up a bit until you reach the gold band, another bit of orange on the threads, and then another gold band. And then there's a small step up from the cap to the barrel, but this step up is the same width as the thread, so it really doesn't feel like there's a step up at all. Now, this pen is available in 2 different filling systems. This one here is a cartridge converter model. It accepts standard international cartridges, and a converter is provided. With the metal here on the housing, eyedroppering would not be recommended. As far as the other filling system, it also comes in a button piston filler. As you can see here, it has a blind cap for the pump and also includes a nice ink window. The standard model, like this one here, is available from a wide number of retailers and will run you about $175, and the button filler will be about $50 more. They do offer a couple additional themed items as well. There are these nice pen-to-go cups in 3 different colors, matching each of the pens. There are actually also these Quirky Leaf nib cloths. I haven't tested this out yet. Actually, let me go ahead and open this up. You know what? Something that I don't know if I've ever talked about. It's always nice to have nice things. And this is a pair of scissors that I have from Ernst Wright, who are a British company. It comes with this leather sleeve, and these scissors are just amazing. It's just one of those cool things that is just fun to own. There is a really cool video. If you just do a search on YouTube for Ernst Wright, it's called like How Expensive, or Why It's Expensive, or How Expensive, or something like that. And it goes into the making of these and how each of these are handmade. And it just really makes it something special. And they're, on top of that, they're amazing scissors. But we'll go ahead and open that up. And this is a little nib cloth that you can use. And I think that it's one of those things that over time, when you use it, it looks nice now, but it's kind of meant to be messed up, if that makes sense. And it'll kind of turn into its own little eclectic art project over time as you wipe more and more and more on here. Oh, those to-go cups run about $60, and then this nib cloth is like $7. Okay, let's see this pen in action. It's time for some measurements, size comparisons, and then that writing sample. Okay, here we go with some size comparisons for the Esterbrook SD Back to the Land. This is the quirky leaf. This is what it looks like with one of the oversized models. And here it is with another SD model from Esterbrook. And then here it is with a Platinum 3776 Yamanaka, which was part of their Lake series. And then here is the Cross Peerless 125. And then we have a Lamy Dialogue 3. And finally, we have a Pilot Custom Heritage 92. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Platinum 3776. Here it is with that oversized. And then here it is with the Pilot Custom Heritage 92. So here we have the writing sample for the Esterbrook. And this is, we'll call it just the Back to the Land. And this is a medium stainless steel nib. And the ink I'm using, I thought would be appropriate since it refers to a band that began in the late 60s and early 70s, which is Diamine Communication Breakdown. This is what the ink looks like. I'm just really fond of it. It just has a lot of character to it. And it was part of a rock and roll series that was distributed through Diamine, but also through a German retailer. The owner of the retailer was really into rock music, and so he had a whole line of kind of rock and roll themed inks. This is the Sailor Gentle Grenade, and then just in a comparison, something a little bit more saturated, which is this Diamine Red Dragon. And this is what the bottle looks like. Always been fond of the Diamine bottles. And you can see here, it is the communication breakdown. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. I actually had to just purchase another bottle of this ink because I was starting to run low. I don't know how long it's going to be in production, and it's been a big favorite, so I had to buy another bottle just in case it goes out of production. But this medium nib, you're not going to get a lot of line variation out of this stainless steel nib. But I will say for a medium, it has decent ink flow. In regard to reverse writing, it is a little spotty and a little bit scratchy. And then in regard to some fast writing, the feed keeps up very well. So there we have the Esterbrook Back to the Land, and this one was the quirky leaf. I think it's an interesting model. I do like the size of this pen. It performs very nicely, and it's rather nostalgic as well. Okay, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.